Have you ever felt like your life is overwhelming? Like you're always running, trying to balance everything, but at the end of the day, all that's left is exhaustion. If you've ever had this feeling, I want to tell you something. Japanese minimalism might be the answer you're looking for. It's not just about organizing your home or owning fewer things. It's a path to finding peace, clarity, and lightness in a world that constantly pushes us toward overload. And today, I want to guide you through this path. In this video, I'll share 7 powerful lessons from Japanese wisdom that can transform your life from the inside out. These are simple yet powerful insights that will help you eliminate excess, organize your mind, and create a space where you can breathe more easily. These lessons aren't just about keeping your home tidy. They will challenge the way you think, shift your priorities, and even redefine what you consider essential for your happiness. Japanese minimalism is much more than clean aesthetics or homes with few objects. It's about living with intention, with purpose. In this philosophy, everything that enters your home and your life should bring you real value. No excess, no unnecessary weight. And do you know what's most important? The emotional lightness that comes with it. And that's exactly what we're going to learn today. Lesson 1. Live with less, but with more quality. Japanese minimalism isn't about deprivation or austerity. It's about choosing what truly matters and letting go of what doesn't contribute to a meaningful life. This philosophy invites us to rethink our relationship with objects, relationships, and even time itself. The core idea is simple: less quantity, more quality. In Japan, this approach is deeply ingrained in the culture. They value the beauty of simplicity and the importance of intention. Every item in a minimalist Japanese home is carefully chosen, not just for its function, but for its ability to bring joy and harmony to the space. This mindset is reflected in everything, from handcrafted ceramics to the thoughtful arrangement of furniture. But what does this mean for us in our daily lives? It means that instead of accumulating things we don't use or love, we can focus on what truly brings us satisfaction and purpose. For example, having fewer clothes, but each one carefully chosen for style and comfort. Or having fewer decorative items, but each one holding a special meaning. This lesson also applies to our life choices. How often do we find ourselves involved in activities or relationships that don't bring us happiness or growth? Japanese minimalism teaches us to prioritize what truly matters, removing what is unnecessary or toxic. Not only does this simplify our lives, but it also allows us to live with greater authenticity and fulfillment. This philosophy helps us appreciate the present. When we let go of excess, we create space for what truly matters in the here and now. That could be a moment of silence, a meaningful conversation, or simply the appreciation of a well-chosen object. The quality of what we own and experience becomes more evident when we're not distracted by excess. Living with less but with more quality is a way of respecting yourself and the world around you. Consuming less means generating less waste and having a smaller impact on the environment. It's a way of living in harmony, not just with our own values, but with the planet as well. Lesson 2. Appreciate emptiness. The concept of emptiness is one of the pillars of Japanese minimalism, and at first, it may seem contradictory. After all, how can something that isn't there be so important? However, in Japan, emptiness is not seen as an absence but as potential. It is the space that allows beauty and harmony to emerge. In Japanese culture, emptiness is celebrated in various forms, from architecture to art. For example, Zen gardens are designed with open spaces that invite contemplation and introspection. These spaces are not filled with objects or decorations, but with meaning and intention. They remind us that sometimes less is more. Emptiness can be understood as both a physical and a mental space. In a world where we are constantly overwhelmed with information, tasks, and possessions, emptiness offers us a pause. It is the silence between words, the open space on a bookshelf, or the time we dedicate to ourselves without distractions. When we begin to appreciate emptiness, we realize that it is not something to fear or rush to fill. On the contrary, it is an opportunity to breathe, reflect, and recharge. Imagine walking into a room with nothing but a comfortable chair and a window overlooking nature. The empty space around you is not a lack of something, but an invitation to calm and serenity. This lesson also teaches us to value what is not there. Instead of focusing only on what we have or what we do, we can learn to appreciate what is absent. This could be the lack of noise, the freedom of an unscheduled day, or the simplicity of a clutter-free desk. Emptiness helps us prioritize what truly matters. When we create space in our lives, physically or mentally, we make room for what is truly important. This could be a meaningful relationship, a hobby that brings us joy, or simply time to take care of ourselves. Emptiness allows us to focus on what is essential. Appreciating emptiness is also a way to cultivate patience and acceptance. In a world that values productivity and constant activity, emptiness reminds us that not everything needs to be filled or solved immediately. Sometimes, simply being present in the emptiness can bring a sense of peace and contentment. When we learn to appreciate emptiness, we discover that it is not a void, but a source of beauty, harmony, and tranquility. Lesson 3. Everything must have a purpose. In Japanese minimalism, functionality is a key principle. Every object, every habit, every choice should have a clear purpose. This doesn't mean that everything must be purely utilitarian or practical, but rather that it should contribute in some way to the quality of life. This lesson invites us to question what we allow into our lives. This approach is deeply rooted in Japanese culture, where efficiency and intention are valued in every aspect of life. For example, in traditional Japanese architecture, every element of a home serves a specific function, from tatami mats that provide comfort to paper dividers that allow natural light to flow in. Nothing is placed by chance. The idea is to eliminate the unnecessary and keep only what truly serves a purpose. This could be an object we use daily, a habit that helps us grow, or even a relationship that brings us support and joy. When everything in our lives has a function, clarity, and organization becomes second nature. This lesson also teaches us to make more mindful decisions. Instead of accumulating things out of impulse or fear of needing them someday, we can ask ourselves, does this add value to my life? This simple question can help us avoid unnecessary purchases, commitments that bring no satisfaction, and even thoughts that do not contribute to our well-being. When everything has a function, life becomes easier to maintain. Fewer possessions mean less time spent cleaning and organizing. Fewer unnecessary commitments mean more time for what truly matters. Fewer distractions mean more focus and productivity. Functionality allows us to live with greater ease and efficiency. This lesson also encourages us to rethink our habits and your routines. How often do we do things out of sheer habit, without questioning whether they still make sense for us? Japanese minimalism encourages us to evaluate our actions and choices, keeping only those that have a clear and positive purpose in our lives. When everything has a function, gratitude becomes more present. We begin to value every object, every moment, and every person in our lives because we know they are there for a reason. This creates a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction, even with less. This lesson teaches us to live with intention and to recognize that everything in our lives should have a purpose, because true wealth is not in quantity, but in the quality and meaning behind each choice. Lesson 4. Organizing is an act of self-love. Organizing is not just a practical task, it is an expression of self-care. In Japanese minimalism, organization goes beyond tidying up closets or cleaning surfaces. It's about creating an environment that reflects harmony, peace, and respect for oneself. When we organize our home, our routines, or even our thoughts, we are saying, I deserve to live in a space that nurtures and inspires me. This lesson is deeply connected to the Japanese concept of MA, which refers to the space between things. In Japan, space is not seen as emptiness, but as an opportunity for beauty and intention. When we organize, we are creating MA, spaces that allow energy to flow freely and the mind to feel lighter. Organizing is a way of taking care of our mental and emotional health. A cluttered environment can create stress, anxiety, and a sense of being overwhelmed. On the other hand, an organized space brings clarity, focus, and tranquility. It's as if, by tidying up our home, we are also tidying up our mind. This lesson also teaches us to appreciate the process of organizing. It is not a quick or superficial task, but a conscious and intentional act. When we organize, we are making decisions about what deserves to stay in our lives and what can be left behind. This helps us set priorities and live with more purpose. Organizing is a way of expressing our identity, what we choose to keep, how we arrange our belongings, and how we decorate our space are reflections of who we are and what we value. When we create an environment that represents us, we feel more connected and authentic. This lesson also invites us to care for the details. In Japanese minimalism, even the simplest gestures, such as folding a towel or setting a table, are done with attention and respect. These small acts of care remind us that every moment and every object has value. Organizing is a way of cultivating gratitude. When we take care of what we have, we begin to appreciate every object and every space. This helps us live with greater awareness and appreciation instead of constantly seeking what is missing. Lesson 5. Less is relaxing. In a world that values constant productivity and the accumulation of possessions, Japanese minimalism offers a refreshing perspective. Less is relaxing. This lesson invites us to simplify our lives, not as a sacrifice, but as a way to relieve stress and find peace. In Japan, simplicity is seen as a source of tranquility. Minimalist spaces, such as traditional home interiors or Zen gardens, are designed to promote calmness and serenity. The absence of excess allows the mind to rest and the body to feel lighter. This approach reminds us that true wealth often lies in simplicity. When we have fewer possessions, fewer commitments, and fewer distractions, our minds become clearer and more focused. Imagine waking up in a room that holds only the essentials: a comfortable bed, a neatly arranged desk, and a window overlooking nature. The simplicity of the space helps us start the day with peace and intention. This lesson also teaches us to appreciate free time. Instead of filling every moment with activities or obligations, we can learn to embrace stillness and pause. This doesn't mean being unproductive. It means recognizing that rest is essential for our well-being. When we have fewer unnecessary commitments, we can dedicate more time to what truly brings us joy and fulfillment. Japanese minimalism helps reduce decision fatigue. How often do we feel overwhelmed by having to choose from countless options? When we simplify our lives, decisions become easier and less stressful. This allows us to focus on what truly matters and live with greater intention. In a world that prioritizes speed and efficiency, Japanese minimalism reminds us that beauty lies in the details and that every moment is worth appreciating. When we live with less, we gain more time to observe, reflect, and enjoy life. Less is relaxing because it helps us prioritize what truly matters. By eliminating the unnecessary, we create space for what is essential: our passions, our relationships, and our well-being. This allows us to live with greater authenticity and fulfillment. Lesson 6. Connection with nature. Japanese minimalism is not limited to indoor spaces. It also celebrates a deep connection with nature. This lesson reminds us that, even in the midst of urban and modern life, we can find harmony and inspiration in the natural world. Nature is not just a backdrop, it is a source of balance and renewal. In Japan, this connection is evident in various aspects of culture, from architecture to daily practices. Traditional Japanese homes, for example, are designed to blend indoor and outdoor spaces, incorporating elements like inner gardens, verandas, and large windows. This integration encourages us to appreciate the beauty and serenity of nature in our everyday lives. Even in small or urban spaces, we can cultivate a connection with nature in simple ways: a potted plant, a walk in the park, or simply opening a window to feel the fresh air. These small gestures help us recharge our energy and find peace. This lesson also teaches us to respect natural cycles. In Japan, the changing seasons are celebrated with festivals, decorations, and specific traditions. This reminds us that life is made of changes and transformations, and that we can learn to flow with them rather than resist them. When we connect with nature's rhythms, we begin to live with greater awareness and acceptance. Nature teaches us simplicity and resilience. A tree, for example, does not need excess to be strong and beautiful. It grows with what it has, adapts to its surroundings, and flourishes in its own time. This simplicity inspires us to live with fewer worries and more authenticity. This lesson also encourages us to care for the environment. When we connect with nature, we begin to value and protect it. Small actions, reducing plastic consumption, recycling, planting a tree, contribute to a more sustainable and balanced world. Every effort counts. Connecting with nature helps us find meaning in simplicity. A sunset, the sound of rain, the singing of birds. These moments remind us that true wealth lies in life's smallest details. When we allow ourselves to appreciate nature, we discover that happiness doesn't have to be complicated. Lesson 7. Let go of what no longer serves you. Letting go is one of the most profound lessons of Japanese minimalism. It's not just about getting rid of objects, but about freeing yourself from anything that no longer contributes to your well-being. This lesson invites us to look at our lives and ask, what still makes sense for me? And, more importantly, what can I release to make space for the new? In Japan, letting go is closely tied to the concept of MA, which refers to the space between things. When we detach, we create MA, spaces that allow energy to flow freely and new opportunities to emerge. This practice is not about loss, but about gaining lightness and freedom. Letting go applies to many areas of life, from material possessions to habits, relationships, and thoughts. How often do we hold on to things that no longer serve us? Out of fear, comfort, or simply because we haven't taken the time to reflect on their true importance. Japanese minimalism encourages us to evaluate what truly deserves to remain in our lives. This lesson also teaches us to appreciate the process of letting go. It's not a rushed or impulsive action, but a conscious and intentional decision. When we release something, we are making a choice about what we want to carry with us and what we are ready to leave behind. This helps us set priorities and live with greater purpose. Letting go also allows us to cultivate gratitude. When we release something that no longer serves us, we can appreciate the role it once played in our lives, even if that role has now ended. This perspective helps us close cycles and move forward with greater lightness and peace. This lesson also invites us to detach from expectations and external standards. Many times, we cling to ideas of what our lives should be based on social pressures or comparisons. Japanese minimalism reminds us that true happiness comes from living in alignment with our own values and desires. Letting go is a way to make space for the new. When we release what no longer serves us, we open doors for new experiences, relationships, and personal growth. It's as if, by letting go of the old, we are preparing the ground for what's to come. This lesson is an invitation to look at our lives with honesty and courage. When we free ourselves from what weighs us down, we realize that true freedom lies in simplicity and intention. It is a way to live with more authenticity, lightness, and peace. These lessons from Japanese minimalism are simple yet profound. They invite us to rethink our relationship with objects, time, relationships, and even ourselves. But more than that, they show us that simplicity can be a source of peace and happiness. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these lessons resonated with you the most today? The one that made you stop and think about how it might apply to your life. Maybe it was the idea of living with less but with greater quality, or the importance of appreciating emptiness and creating space in your life. Perhaps you connected with the lesson about letting go of what no longer serves you. Or maybe the idea that organizing as an act of self-love stood out to you. Whatever lesson spoke to you the most, it could be the starting point for an incredible transformation. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button. That lets me know you want more content like this. And if you think someone else could benefit from these ideas, share this with them. Sometimes, a simple change can be the beginning of something truly beautiful.